Good morning, church. My name is Bobby Garforth, and I would like to lead you through today's Lent Devotional based on John chapter 17, verses 1 to 19, and specifically Jesus' prayer for his disciples in verses 6 to 19. Now, the whole chapter, John chapter 17, is a prayer from Jesus to his Father in heaven, and if we remind ourselves of the context or what Jesus is going through, or what he's about to go through in this passage, then this prayer and these verses become even more powerful and even more meaningful. So the context: Jesus, the King of Kings, God's only Son, is about to be betrayed in the next chapter, chapter 18, by one of his closest friends, and then arrested and then crucified. And yet he prays these words, and we'll start at verse 9. I pray for them. I am not praying for the world, but for those you have given me, for they are yours. All I have is yours, and all you have is mine, and glory has come to me through them. I will remain in the world no longer, but they are still in the world, and I am coming to you. Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name, the name you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. And then picking up in verse 15, my prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. They are not of the world, even as I am not of it. Sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth. As you sent me into the world, I have sent them into the world. For them I sanctify myself, that they too may be truly sanctified. Now, this passage and this devotional study made me think back to last summertime, 2020, and the birth of Joanna and I's first child, our baby boy Joel. Now, Joel's the one on the right here in the picture, of course. It was a stressful time and a stressful build-up. Expecting a child in the early stages of the national lockdown and coronavirus pandemic was not easy at all. At the time, the effects of the virus were unclear on pregnancy and children, which made the whole situation that little bit more stressful. But thankfully, we reached the day and Joel was born on the 9th of July, 2020, and we both took a collective sigh of relief. Until later that night, when the doctor had informed us that Joel had dangerously low blood sugars. And this is where all the worry and panic started for us. During this time, and rightly so, we had tunnel vision. The only thoughts on our mind was, make sure Joel is okay. Pray for Joel, pray for Joanna in the hospital with him, and ask as many people as possible to pray for Joel. And repeat. And this is the good and proper thing to do. The Bible tells us that after all, that we should bring our burdens and our concerns and our prayers to our Father in heaven. And thankfully, after about a week in hospital, Joel's blood sugars returned to normal levels and we're able to go home, thankful and joyful with our new baby boy. But this whole story made me think of the contrast to Jesus' prayer in this passage. Now, in one of my toughest times, in one of our toughest times, I couldn't think of anything besides the situation. Jesus is different. Isn't it a comfort for us to know that when Jesus was going through his toughest time, he prayed for you and he prayed for me. He prayed to his Father in heaven and said this, verse 9, I pray for them. I'm not praying for the world, but for those you have given me, for they are yours. He's praying for the disciples and he's praying for you and me here. And in verse 11, Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name, the name you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. He prays for our protection and our unity. And in verse 15, my prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. Again, he prays for our protection from the evil one. And then finally, verse 17, sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth. He wants us to be holy and pure and free from sin. Now, don't take from this that in your darkest hour, you're supposed to avoid praying for yourself and only pray for others, because we know that obviously that is not correct. But instead, with you today, take away these two key points. Number one, Jesus was concerned about us in his hour of need. In Jesus' most difficult hours and days, he was concerned about his disciples and concerned about you and concerned about me. Concerned that we remain united, that we are protected from the evil one, and that we become holy, pure, and free from sin. In short, he wanted the best for us, the best for his disciples. And point two, the Father's heart. This is a small picture of what Jesus ultimately did on the cross. The prayer shows Jesus' heart and his love for you and for me. He is more concerned about his disciples than his current situation. And when he goes to the cross, he's focused on you and me again. Dying on the cross, carrying the weight of our sin, and paying the price for us so that we might know the Father and we might have eternal life.